Greetings, Exiles! Have you ever wondered how your favorite build would look like if you had access to all the currency and broken items you want? Well, with this video, you will have to wonder no longer, as I, after the disastrous launch of Ultimatum League, and specifically in the first 2 days of it, decided to open my standard account, since playing League was somewhat impossible at that point. And then thought about trying something that I have always wanted to try. Why not try to absolute perfect one of my favorite builds? And with that I mean no compromises on damage, life, or speed, and every other mechanic you can think of. And thus the idea for this build was born. And as such, I want you guys to consider this video to be less of a build guide and more of an interesting experiment. So we have Cyclone. Usually it's played as a Slayer. Slayer provides good damage and AoE at the cost of defense. This is not enough for us since we want to have the best possible defensive layer alongside good damage and speed. At that point I thought about integrating block chance into the build. The reason for that is that if you are willing to spend enough currency, then you might be able to get good single-handed weapons that can even surpass some two-handed weapons in damage. And that will allow you to use a shield, and we can scale its block chance to add an additional defensive layer for the build. And as such I decided to go with Gladiator. The first node to consider from this ascendancy is Arena Challenger. This one gives you free challenger charges as long as you are using Blood and Sand stance. You will get 2% more attack and movement speed per challenger charge, which is an overall multiplier to your character attack and movement speed. From here, it's shield nodes all the way. Starting with Painforged, this node gives you stun immunity against hits that you block, and if you happen to block something you will get 8% additional chance to block for the next hit. From here we take the best shield node in the entire game, which is Versatile Combatant. It is with this node that you will be able to get the maximum chance to block spell damage as well. Last but not least we have Violent Retaliation. The additional maximum chance to block attack damage is not the only reason why we take this node. Since you are most likely to block the first hit if you have high block chance, getting the 80% increased physical damage if you have blocked a hit from a boss is not going to be difficult at the start of a boss fight. Also, if you are not capped on your block chance, then this node will help you by increasing your block chance the more hits you block in the past 10 seconds. And that was it for our ascendancy. What about passive tree? Here is what your final passive tree should look like. Notice how that I have set final instead of average, because as I have said at the start of the video, there will be no compromises, and this includes having a level 100 character and level 100 dedicated passive tree for it. I spent a couple of days perfecting this tree, and it will provide you with lots of life, some good regen, lots of damage, lots of AoE, and maximum block chance. We also have one cluster jewel setup going on. Our large jewel adds the minimum amount of passives, and it is specialized in shield nodes. On it we have some strong notables like Martial Prowess, Strike Leader, and Gladiator's Fortitude. These are your best in slot option on your large jewel. From here we branch off to medium cluster jewels with area of effect nodes. On them we have some strong notables like Towering Threat and Magnifier. Alright, now that we are done with trivial things, let's get to the best part of this video, item showcase. But before that, let me just remind you that this is an experimental build, and as such you are not expected to get similar items like mine, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's start with our weapon. We have a jeweled file with around 600 physical DPS a second. On it we also have crafted crit chance and quality, tier 1 crit multi, and tier 1 attack speed. If the physical mods on this weapon were tier 1, this foil would be mirror tier worthy. And as we have mentioned before, going alongside our weapon, we have a shield. It has life, hybrid life, tier 1 block chance, a good resistance roll, 1% increased damage per 1% chance to block attack damage, and 50% chance to shock attackers on block, which is the equivalent of 15% more damage taken to enemies. Our next item is a monstrous chest with elevated explode mod, elevated attack crit, elevated power charge on crit, additional curse, tier 1 life, and tier 1 chaos resistance. And of course, this is crafted on the best crafting base in the game, a golden mantle. To be honest, you don't need all of this. An astral plate with explode, base attack crit is going to serve you just as fine. Our next item is our boots. It has elevated onslaught, elevated tailwind, chance to gain elusive on crit, a good resistance roll, tier 1 life, and tier 1 movement speed. And of course all of that is crafted on a legacy 2-tone base. We also have 16% increased attack and cast speed lab enchant on the boots. Next on the list we have a helm with the highest amount of life we can ever have, 20% crit multi, a good resistance roll, and a good chaos resistance roll, and crafted area of effect prefix. All of that on a base with blood and sand has increased effect enchant. For our amulet, we have an amulet with Ilrion mod, which is -9 to the total mana cost of skills. This mod alone will render Cyclone free to use. We also have life, tier 1 crit multi, tier 2 crit chance, and Pride has reduced mana reservation mod to allow us to invest into higher level precision. Then we have crafted area of effect and area damage prefix. Make sure to anoint disemboweling with your oils on your amulet for the maximum possible damage boost. Next for your rings, the first one is a steel ring with Assassin's Mark curse on hit. It also have life, flat fizz, chaos resistance, crit multi, and crafted damage. Now since we have the luxury of utilizing 2 curses on this build thanks to the hunter mod on our chest, our second ring is another steel ring with vulnerability curse on hit, flat physical damage, incursion life mod, crit multi, a good resistance roll, and crafted damage. Our next item is our gloves. On them we have elevated impale, elevated culling strike, tier 1 life, tier 1 attack speed, a good resistance roll, and crafted area of effect. Last but not least we have a belt with as much life as humanly possible, global physical damage, good resistances, and increased attack speed during any flask effect. As you guys have seen, all of the items I have showcased in this video are best in slot option, like literally, and as such the total budget of this build is close to 4 mirrors on standard if you have decided to buy all the items right away. If the old harvest ever finds its way into the game, then you will be able to manually recreate these items yourself with a budget less than 2 mirrors. But with that being said, we are basically done with our items. Now let's talk about some gems. Our main 6 link contains Cyclone, Awakened Melee Fizz, Awakened Brutality, Impale Support, Anomalous Pulverize, and Close Combat Support. This is an ideal 6 link configuration that provides lots of damage and area of effect for Cyclone. Our next gem setup contains some auras. It has Pride, Precision, Herald of Purity, and Enlighten support. You should go as high as possible on Precision as long as you have no less than 10 mana remaining. And for your final mandatory gem setup, you have Blood and Sand, Dread Banner, level 4 Enhance, and level 3 Enlighten. With Enhance you will increase Dread Banner aura effect, which when combined with level 21-23 gem will result in 100% chance to impale enemies without taking both impale node clusters on the passive tree. The remainder of your sockets are left for whatever gems you see fit. You can have Tempest Shield, a cast when damage taken setup, or a moving skill setup. It's up to you. But for jewels, here is an example for what a good jewel should look like. You need to prioritize life first, and then as many crit multiplier mods as possible, coupled with essential stat mods like attributes and resistances if you still need them. For your Watcher's Eye, it's +2 impale while affected by Pride, and 15% increased life recovery rate while affected by Vitality. I could have gone with a bit more expensive Watcher's Eye, but we already have lots of damage in this build, which would make the upgrade not that much worth it. And that was basically it for our godly Cyclone build. If you guys have enjoyed this video, then make sure to drop a like, and maybe consider subscribing for more videos like this one. My name is Phoenix, and I will see you all in the next video.